Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
The year is 2015. People are dabbing, doing the whip and nay-nay, and making vines.
Road work ahead? Yeah, I sure hope it does.
Star Wars is back, so is Mad Max, Jurassic Park, and Terminator. Everything old is new again, and everything new is a sequel. In the gaming world, things were looking up. Games like The Witcher 3, Fallout 4, and Bloodborne were all released this year. We also got Super Mario Maker, Splatoon, Rocket League, Metal Gear Solid 5, Batman Arkham Knight, and more. It was a stacked year. A golden age, some might say. So it would have been easy for a small RPG made by one guy to get lost in the noise. But it didn't. Undertale is a game like no other. On the surface, it looks like a simple, quirky, retro-styled RPG. But beneath the surface is a game that knows you're playing it. A game that remembers what you've done. A game that dares to ask, what if the player wasn't the hero? Undertale took the internet by storm. It wasn't just a surprise hit, it was a phenomenon. The kind of game people didn't just play, they obsessed over. They made theories, fan art, music remixes, memes, and all kinds of content off of it. So does Undertale still hold up after all these years? Yes it does. This game is a masterpiece, and no amount of time will change that. So that's not the question this video looks to answer. Today we'll be focusing on why Undertale is so good and how it remains timeless. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. It can make us fall in love with a moment or a memory. But with enough time, nostalgia can also cloud our judgment. It makes us wonder, do we still love something because it's truly great, or because it reminds us of who we were back then? When I replayed Undertale, I expected a wave of nostalgia. Those great characters, the unforgettable music, the quirky humor, and yeah, all of that hit me. But what surprised me was how quickly that nostalgia gave way to something else: admiration. Because Undertale isn't just a product of its time, it transcends it. In the decades since Undertale's release, video games have become bigger, flashier, and more technically impressive. Open worlds have gotten denser, graphics have reached near photorealism, and storytelling has become more cinematic. But despite all of that, nothing really compares to the charm of this game. It doesn't have ray tracing or motion capture, it doesn't even have voice acting. But you can't tell me these voices aren't iconic. What it does have, more than many other games, is heart. And I don't just mean that literally. Undertale reaches the player on an emotional level that most games can only dream of. It's not about immersion through visuals, but through sincerity. Where modern games often ask you to watch a story unfold, Undertale asks you to participate in one. Your choices matter, not in the pick a dialogue option kind of way, but in the way your actions shape the world, the characters, and how they see you. And somehow, 10 years later, that still feels revolutionary. So why does it still hit as hard in 2025 as it did in 2015? I think the answer lies in its simplicity. The graphics, the music, the story, none of it shouts 2015. Look at a game like Goat Simulator, which was released just 1 year prior. This game screams 2014, and while it was funny and trendy at the time, none of its humor or references are relevant anymore.
All the front flips, all the front flips, all the front flips, all the front flips. That's how I do it in the Go Town, girl. That's how we do it in the Go Town.
With that being said, Undertale does have its fair share of mid-2010s humor. I did not expect to see the word glomp in 2025, and really I wish I hadn't. But I won't lie, seeing some of the old cringe references again was pretty funny to see. It kind of adds to the game's charm and nostalgia, and somehow makes it feel even more endearing. In a world where both monsters and humans exist, they fail to coexist. Failure to accept their differences leads to war, and when the humans win, the monsters are forced underground and sealed behind a barrier. One day, a child falls down a hole and ends up in the monster-filled underground. You play as this child, exploring the wacky underground world and trying to find your way back home to the surface. What starts off as a fun journey through a world full of skeleton puns and spaghetti soon reveals itself to be something deeper. The lighthearted adventure you started on is having you make important decisions, and these silly skeletons show that there is more to their character than you might have first thought. These monsters seem almost human. This game asks you big questions through small moments. What does it mean to be kind even when it's not the easy choice? What happens when you hurt someone who didn't deserve it? Do your actions matter even in a game where you can reset? You can kill, but it won't be without consequence. You can spare, but at what cost? Every decision leaves a mark. That choice is what gives Undertale its soul. The three main routes, pacifist, neutral, and genocide, aren't just different endings, they're reflections of your morality. The tone, music, dialogue, and even the world itself change based on how you treat others. It's rare to find a game that feels so reactive to the player's empathy or lack thereof. The story isn't just about getting home. It's about connection, forgiveness, and understanding. The stark differences between the game's upbeat and fun moments and its darker, more serious ones is what makes it unforgettable. There are two main ways of making your way through the story. The genocide route, rooted in nihilism and depression, or the pacifist route, rooted in hope and the power of friendship. You could also go for a neutral run, which is a mix of both, but I'll mostly be focusing on the first two. The philosophy of the genocide route is to kill for the sake of killing. This is just a video game after all. These characters are nothing more than pixels on a screen. Their lives are worth XP. It's how you get stronger. Why wouldn't you kill them? If there was an ant in your house, you would kill it, wouldn't you? It's invading your space. It provides no value. It's dirty, gross, useless, so you crush it. There's no repercussions, just one less insignificant insect on the planet. It doesn't matter. Nothing really matters. The same goes for this Whimsun. It's just some lines of code with a set amount of predetermined dialogue options. It doesn't matter if you kill it or not, its existence ends as soon as your encounter does. So you kill it. Then you kill the next random enemy, then the next, and the next. And then you reach Toriel, a monster that took you in, fed you, tried to keep you safe, and now she stands in your way. It doesn't matter. You continue on this path of violence, chopping down everybody in your path, no matter how dangerous or how innocent. Your crusade will eventually bring you to the barrier, and you can make it back home to the surface. Your hands may be covered in blood, but you're home, so it doesn't matter. Right? Alternatively, you're given the option to show your opponents mercy. Not just the bosses, but every enemy. Even the lowly, harmless Whimsun. You don't have to squash the bug. You can choose to let it live. If I am killed for simply living, let death be kinder than man. Who's to say whether these monsters deserve death or not? Even the most dangerous of them that wish to see you dead. It doesn't mean you have to be so cruel as to kill them yourself. You have the power, the ability, the choice to show mercy. To be kind when you have no incentive to be. Your kindness will help you forge bonds with even the most unlikely of monsters. And in the end, it's these bonds that you've created that lead to you making it back home. But this time, you're not alone. You have friends now. And together, you can repair the relationship between monsters and humans and build a brighter future. Together. The path you choose is up to you. From the very beginning, you can choose to kill or show mercy. It all depends on the kind of player you are. That, to me, is what makes this story so timeless. It blends the lighthearted, funny moments with the heavy moral choices brilliantly. So no matter if you're playing in 2015, 2025, or 2035, Undertale's story will always leave an impact. Every one of Undertale's characters has so much personality, charm, and, well, character. They each leave a lasting impression after the game ends, no matter which ending you get. Let's take a look at the main cast and see what makes each of them so memorable. The first character you come across when you wind up in the underground world is this cute little flower named Flowey. He's welcoming and friendly and even shows you how things work down here. Surely there's nothing more to this. Okay, we'll get back to him in a minute. Toriel finds you, and after helping you with our floral friend, she takes you through the ruins to her house. It becomes very apparent that Toriel is a mother, and she treats you like a child of her own. Flowey showed us that we can't really trust the monsters down here, but Toriel seems different. She's caring, kind, and protective. When you try to leave the ruins and find your way home, she tries to stop you, fearing that you'll meet the same tragic end as the other children that left the comfort of her home. This is where you face your first real choice, and it's a big one. Toriel makes you fight her to prove your strength, and it's up to you to decide whether to cut down this monster that's preventing you from escaping, or show mercy to someone that seems to genuinely care for your well-being. No matter your choice, Toriel is a character that you won't forget, either as your first kill or the mother figure that saved your life. Outside the ruins, we run into two skeletons, Sans and Papyrus. Papyrus isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's very ambitious. He wants to join the Royal Guard, but unfortunately for you, in order to join, he has to capture a human. Luckily for you, he's not very good at the whole capturing part. His goofy antics and funny dialogue quickly make you view him less as a threat and more as a friend. Or maybe more than a friend? Despite how unserious Papyrus may be, he's shown that he truly wishes to succeed. He feels the need to prove himself, like he's worthless if he doesn't show the world what he's capable of. He truly wants to be taken seriously, so despite how much you've bonded over your shared love of puzzles and spaghetti, you fight. After your fight, if you choose to spare him, he tells you that your friendship means more to him than joining the Royal Guard. He's shown that he cares about you so much, even only having met you earlier this day, that he's willing to set his dreams aside just to let you go. You'll leave the town of Snowdin having gained a true friend. As for his brother, Sans, we'll get to him soon. Next we meet Undyne, a fearsome soldier who's hunting you down. She is fiercely determined to capture you, and at first comes off as scary, dangerous, and relentless. But you learn there's more to her underneath her spiky shell. She hunts you so aggressively not because she's cruel or evil, but because her actions are guided by her unshakable moral compass in pursuit of justice. She fights for what she believes in, and she doesn't take defeat lightly. After beating her, she runs off and is quite the sore loser. But as you get to know her, you understand her more and see she's a fierce competitor in everything she does. She may not like to show it, but she also cares for her friends. She's even teaching Papyrus how to fight to help him get into the Royal Guard. It's not easy becoming her friend, but once she lets you in, you know you've made a friend for life. And you'll never have to worry about fighting alone, because she's someone that will never stop fighting for the people she cares about. Speaking of people Undyne cares about, the next character we meet is Alphys. Alphys is a nerdy, awkward scientist who hides in her lab watching anime, too scared to go out into the real world and be judged. She's done some things in the name of science that she deeply regrets. She's filled with shame and guilt and has warped her own view of herself, making her extremely insecure. After many trials and tribulations, and with your help, she's able to accept herself and face the truth, owning up to her mistakes and vowing to be more honest. In her pursuit of a more honest lifestyle, she confesses her feelings for Undyne, and Undyne reveals that she feels the same. How cute. Now, hopefully she'll get off Undernet so that I can get more than 3 steps without being interrupted.
I get it!
Alphys' latest invention, Metaton, is the Underground's only TV star. Unfortunately, Alphys also made him a human-killing machine. What follows is a series of TV show related bits where Mettaton tries to kill you. His showbiz antics range from impromptu cooking shows to deadly bomb scavenger hunts. But his efforts also mask a deeper loneliness, his desire to be loved by the audience, by Alphys, by you, by anyone. Mirrors a very human insecurity. His true form is revealed in one of the game's most memorable boss fights, where he does everything he can to shine for his fans one last time. Mettaton's story is one of self-expression, identity, and the strange power of performance as both a mask and a form of truth. His boss fight also has the best song in the game, but I would expect nothing less from somebody as musically talented as Mettaton is. Sans isn't just the funny guy with the funny voice and the funny song. He serves a far more important role in the story. He starts off as Papyrus's lazy, sarcastic brother that cares more about making a good pun than doing any real work. But he shows that deep down, he really cares for his brother and wants to see him happy. Throughout the game, he'll keep up with you and give you some not-so-subtle advice to keep your morals on track. And at the end of the game, your paths cross one last time in the throne room before you meet Asgore. Here, he will evaluate your choices, serving as your judge, your jury, and if he must, he will be your executioner. When you finally reach Asgore, you expect a monstrous villain, the king of monsters who's killed 6 other innocent children and waits to take your soul. But what you find is a kind, sorrowful king, tending to flowers in silence. Asgore isn't evil, he's heartbroken. After the death of his son and the betrayal of humanity, he felt he had no choice but to act. His resolve is heavy, not hateful. And that moral complexity hits hard. The game doesn't let you hate him, even if you want to. His battle is tragic, not triumphant. You're not fighting a tyrant, you're fighting someone who doesn't want to fight at all, but feels like they have to. And that conflict forces you to face some of the game's hardest questions. What do you do when a good person does a bad thing? Are his actions justified? Does he deserve to die for his crimes? In the end, it's up to you to decide. At first, Flowey is a sadistic flower who mocks your kindness and manipulates the game itself. He's the anti-Toriel, the voice whispering that your choices don't matter and that no one really cares. But at the end of the pacifist route, you learn the truth. Flowey was once Asriel Dreamer, the beloved son of Asgore and Toriel. After his tragic death, he was resurrected without a soul, leaving him incapable of love or empathy. Asriel is left a being with no compassion, only with power, and that power corrupts. But Asriel isn't irredeemable. In the game's most emotional moment, you help him remember who he was. You don't fight him with violence, but with understanding. It's a confrontation not just with a villain, but with grief, with guilt, and with the longing to be loved again. Asriel's redemption is a tearful finale that ties together every theme in Undertale. The importance of choice, the pain of loss, and the idea that even the most broken souls can find peace. Alright, with all that deeper meaning stuff out of the way, let's get into some action. I've played a lot of games in my life, but there's truly nothing that plays quite like Undertale. It's an RPG, but not in the traditional sense. Its turn-based structure is flipped on its head with the addition of real-time bullet hell mechanics, where instead of just choosing an action and watching it play out, you dodge attacks in increasingly creative ways. Every enemy has unique patterns, personalities, and even ways to avoid conflict altogether. You might end a battle by cheering someone up, repeatedly petting a dog, or pretending to be a rock. The game actively encourages players to engage with enemies like characters, not obstacles. And that small shift changes not only the way you play the game, but also how you think about each encounter. Some of the game's most memorable moments come from the fights that take the basic formula and twist it into something new and different. Undyne's boss fight, which is probably my favorite fight in the game, starts as a standard dodge fest until your soul turns green and suddenly you're stuck in place, holding a shield to block her relentless barrage of spears. It's a clever mechanical metaphor. You're not attacking, you're enduring. You're standing your ground. And it feels so satisfying. Swapping between the standard bullet hell and these rhythm game-esque parts of the fight is so unique and makes for an amazing boss fight. Then there's Mettaton EX, a fight that ditches traditional combat altogether and transforms into a chaotic TV performance where you're judged on your dramatic flair. Defeating him isn't just about survival, it's about style, timing, and stage presence. You can gamble on your upcoming performance, and if you perform well, you can increase your score, helping you reach the end of the fight sooner. Another super cool and unique mechanic for a boss fight. And of course, I can't forget about Sans. His fight, which only happens on the genocide route, is infamous. It breaks every rule the game has taught you. He strikes first, he dodges your attacks. It's fast, difficult, punishing, and laced with guilt. Because this isn't just a boss fight, it's a consequence. You're only having to endure this brutal battle because of what you've done. To get to this fight, you had to be ruthless and merciless. So Sans is here to give you a taste of your own medicine. What makes Undertale's gameplay so special isn't just the creativity, it's how tightly it's woven into the story. Every fight is another chance to learn, to choose, and to reflect. Whether you're dodging bones or trying to spare a misunderstood creature, the game constantly challenges how you think about combat, and in doing so, it redefines what RPGs can be. Without hyperbole, Undertale's soundtrack is the greatest soundtrack in gaming history, and it's not even close. Everywhere you go and everything you do is accompanied by some of the most iconic themes ever composed. The craziest thing about this soundtrack is that it was made by one man, Toby Fox. It's mind-blowing how this guy is an amazing writer, game developer, and composer. Save some talent for the rest of us, Toby, damn! In all seriousness though, it's an incredible feat to produce banger after banger after banger all on your own. Now let's start talking about some of the best tracks. And while I would like to sit here and yap about all 101 songs on the soundtrack, this video is long enough as is, so I've narrowed it down to 8 songs that I really want to talk about. Starting with Once Upon a Time. This is where it all begins. Once Upon a Time isn't just the name of the track, it's the storybook page flip that opens the entire experience. It's soft, gentle, almost lullaby-like. This melody introduces you to the world not with a bang, but with quiet wonder, like a bedtime story that might end a little differently than you'd expect. This is the boss theme for Torio, so while it is a hype song, there is some trauma associated with it. It's dramatic and emotional, not because the music is tragic on its own, but because of what's happening in the story. You're fighting the character who is like a mother to you. The sweeping melody perfectly mirrors the inner conflict between trying to leave the ruins and not wanting to hurt someone who clearly loves you. It's what plays when you ask yourself for the first time, do I really want to do this? This track is absolute chaos in the best way. It plays during the battle with the Mad Dummy, and it fully leans into the absurdity. It's fast, it's frantic, and it's stitched together with shrieking synths and manic energy that makes you feel like you've stepped into a haunted carnival ride. It takes motifs from the track Ghost Fight and turns them up to 11, matching the sheer chaos of what's going on. Reusing certain elements in multiple songs is something really cool about this soundtrack as a whole, and this song is one of my favorite examples of that. It's a melody that you've heard before, but never quite like this. I mentioned earlier that this was my favorite song in the game. And I mean, come on. Are you listening to this? Every time I hear this song, it just makes me want to start dancing. Its disco-like electronic pop is so catchy and just the perfect fit for Mettaton EX's theme. It matches his vibe flawlessly. And in a fight where you and your opponent are posing up a storm trying to win over a crowd, I couldn't think of a better song to play while doing it. This is where things get seriously unhinged. Flowey's final form is already horrifying, and Your Best Nightmare matches that energy with pure audio chaos. It's glitchy, offbeat, and unpredictable. It's like a corrupted game file that somehow came to life. There's no real melody here, just noise, dread, and feeling of complete loss of control. To capture all that in the form of a song is unreal, and it's the perfect fit for such an insane final boss. After the nightmare, you wake up to this. It's heroic, it's uplifting, it's the musical embodiment of determination. Hopes and Dreams plays when all seems lost, but you're not ready to quit. It hits like a second wind, a last stand, a belief that maybe, just maybe, you can still save everyone. And somehow it manages to sound exactly like its title. It's the audio form of pure hopes and dreams. Undyne's genocide route theme is everything that's terrifying and awe-inspiring about her compressed into one single song. It's intense from the first note and doesn't let up for a second. This is what happens when you push a hero too far, when the protector becomes the final wall between you and complete destruction. To get to this fight, you had to be the villain. This is the theme of the game's true hero, and it isn't you that it's playing for. This song speaks for itself. It's legendary. Yeah, it's become a meme, but that doesn't take away from how iconic it is. Just like Sans himself, Megalovania starts with its strongest move. The moment those first few notes hit, you know you're in trouble. The driving bass, the relentless rhythm. As if this fight couldn't get more intense, you have to listen to this while trying your absolute hardest not to die. What really cements Undertale's soundtrack as legendary is how it evolves. Melodies repeat and reappear in different tracks, often remixed or reframed to reflect the emotional state of the story. The game is practically singing to itself, building themes, breaking them down, and putting them back together in new forms. It's musical storytelling at its finest. This isn't just background noise, it's part of the soul of the game. And even if you haven't played Undertale in years, I bet if anything, you still remember the music. That's not just a good soundtrack, it's an unforgettable one. Undertale didn't become a classic on its own. What truly kept it alive all these years is the community that embraced it. The moment it launched, fans began pouring themselves into it. Fan art, theories, remixes, animations, cosplays, memes, you name it. People connected to this game in a way most games could only dream of. 10 years later, that same community is still here, still talking about our favorite quirky little RPG. Undertale's fandom didn't just preserve the game, they elevated it. They helped cement its place in gaming history, not as a passing trend, but as something timeless. I personally believe it deserves its spot on the gaming Mount Rushmore, a true icon of the medium. Undertale didn't just succeed, it changed the game. It made the industry take indie titles seriously. Suddenly, one-man dev teams weren't just scrappy underdogs, they were legitimate contenders. Undertale proved you didn't need millions of dollars or cutting-edge graphics to make something meaningful. You just needed heart, creativity, passion, and the ability to make good puns. Since Undertale, we've seen a golden age of indie games. Celeste, Hollow Knight, Amori, and so many more. Each one owes at least a little something to the godfather of indie games. So here we are, a decade later, still talking about it. Still arguing over which route is canon, still listening to the soundtrack, and still making video essays about it. Undertale didn't just tell a story, it became a part of ours. It taught us that even the smallest choices can matter, that kindness isn't weakness, that empathy can be powerful, and in a world where those things are often forgotten, Undertale reminds us, and it fills us with determination. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you should consider subscribing. I post a video like this once or twice a month, so subscribe if you want to see more. If you're wondering where I would rank Undertale against my other favorite games, you should check out my last video where I go over my updated top 50 favorite games list. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.